Class 9 Biology, Chapter 2, Tissues, Video number 2. Students, in this video, I am going to discuss about the features and functions of the three simple permanent tissues, that is parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Then the features and functions of protective tissues, that is epidermis and cork, will be discussed, and then I'll be discussing about the two complex permanent tissues, that is xylem and phloem. In my previous video, I had told you that permanent tissues are the plant tissues which are made up of cells that have lost their ability to divide and have got differentiated to take up a permanent shape, size and function. Now, permanent tissues are of two types. They are simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. So, simple permanent tissues are the tissues which are made up of same type of cell, that is all the cells that are there in the tissue will be of the same kind. Whereas complex permanent tissues are the tissues which are made up of more than one type of cell. The tissue may have around 4 different types of cells or more than that works together as a complete unit to perform a particular function. So now let us study about the simple permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues are of three types. They are parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma is the most common simple permanent tissue which is found in most of the parts of the plant body. You find parenchyma in the leaves, in the stem, roots, flower, fruits, and this tissue is the most abundant tissue present in the plant body. Let us study the structure of the cell. So here the two diagrams that you see, this is the transverse section of parenchyma and this is the longitudinal section of parenchyma, right? Now the cells, when you see, you find that the cells of parenchyma, they are unspecialized, and these cells, they are isodiametric. They are isodiametric. That is, the cells, when you see the structure of the cell, you find the cells are equidistant from the center. So, such a cell is said to be as isodiametric, right? Now, the other important features that you find in this tissue is parenchyma, it is a living tissue. Why living? Because all the cells of parenchyma, they are all living cells. Okay, so as the cells are living, the tissue is a living tissue. The cells, these parenchymatous cells have cell wall which is extremely thin. The cell wall is very thin and is mainly made up of cellulose. Okay. Then the other important feature that you find in this tissue is that you find that the cells are loosely packed. These cells that you see, they are loosely packed, and as the cells are loosely packed, you find there are intercellular spaces. There are intercellular spaces present between the cells. As you have a look at this diagram, you find that there are spaces between the cells. These spaces are called as intercellular spaces. So, because of the presence of intercellular spaces, you find that the gaseous exchange is easily possible, right? The other features that you find is that nucleus is small and is located at the periphery, and the center is occupied by a central large vacuole. So, these are the important features of parenchymatous tissue. Now coming to the functions of parenchyma. As parenchyma is a living tissue, the main function of parenchyma is storage of food. Okay. So, this is the main function of parenchyma, that is, it stores food. The other important function is that because of these intercellular spaces present, the parenchymatous tissue allows easy diffusion of gases. So, gases can easily pass through these spaces which are present between the cells. Then the parenchyma tissue, it has got certain other features also. In some plants it is specialized, as in case of here you see there are parenchymatous tissue which are found in the leaves, and these tissues that you find that the cells of these tissue, they contain chloroplast. The green dots that you see in the cells, they are the chloroplast, and as you had learned in your first chapter, chloroplast is the organelle which synthesize, which is a site of photosynthesis. So such parenchymatous tissue which contain chloroplast, this is called as chlorenchyma. Okay, so chlorenchyma's main function is that it is a site of photosynthesis. Then in case of aquatic plant, as in case of the stem of lotus which is shown in this picture, you find that here the parenchymatous tissue which is present has got large air spaces. As the cells are very loosely packed, you find air cavities present in the parenchymatous tissue, right? And these air cavities that you find, they are filled up with gases. So in this cavities, as you can see in this picture also, there are holes present. So in this cavity there are gases that are filled, and because of these air cavities, this helps the plant body to float. The lotus, or there are many aquatic plant that floats on water, so that's because of presence of this parenchyma tissue which contains air cavities filled up with gas. And this parenchyma tissue which is having air cavities filled up with gas is called as parenchyma. So these are some of the important features of parenchyma. The most important feature of parenchyma is storage, because I said you it is a living tissue, its main function is storage. The parenchyma containing chloroplast is called as chlorenchyma, and this is the site of photosynthesis. And the parenchyma that contains huge air cavities filled up with gases, that's called as parenchyma. And the role of this parenchyma is to make the aquatic plant float on water. So the next important simple permanent tissue is collenchyma. Collenchyma tissue, like parenchyma, is a living tissue, that is, it is made up of living cells. Now coming to the structure of collenchyma, the cells of the collenchyma are angular in a cross section, and in longitudinal section you find that the cells are elongated, right? Now coming to the wall thickenings, the cell wall of collenchyma tissue is irregularly thickened at the corners. So it's not uniform thickening. At the corners you find the wall is irregularly thickened, and this thickening at the corners is due to the deposition of cellulose and pectin. So due to this deposition of cellulose and pectin at the corners, you find that the intercellular spaces, that is spaces present between the cells, so these intercellular spaces are highly reduced. In case of parenchyma, the spaces are present, but in collenchyma, the intercellular spaces are highly reduced. So these are some of the important features, and like parenchyma, you find the nucleus is small and present at the periphery, and the center is occupied by a vacuole. Okay, so these are the features. Now coming to the functions, the collenchyma tissue's main function is it provides flexibility to the plant body. That is, it allows the plant parts like stem or the leaves to bend without breaking, or the tendrils or the stems of creepers, they bend without breaking. That's because of this collenchyma. So the main function is to provide flexibility, and other important function is it is also a mechanical tissue, that is, it provides mechanical strength. Since collenchyma is a living tissue, it may also store food, and if collenchymatous cells have chloroplast, they may also prepare food. Now coming to the location of collenchyma, the collenchyma tissue is found in the leaf stalk and stem of dicot plants. Only in dicot plants you find this, below the epidermis. So epidermis is the outermost covering of the plant body, and just below the epidermis of dicot stem and in the midrib of the leaf stalk you find this collenchyma tissue present. Okay, so that's a location. The next important simple permanent tissue is sclerenchyma, and this sclerenchyma tissue is a dead tissue. The cells of sclerenchyma are dead. Now coming to the structure of the cell, the sclerenchyma cells, they are elongated, okay, and they are spindle shaped. Spindle shape means the cells are pointed at the corners and they are wider in the center. So cells, these sclerenchyma cells, such cells which are spindle shaped, these sclerenchyma cells, they are called as fibers. Okay, the sclerenchyma cells may be either elongated like this or they may be irregular, and those irregular shaped sclerenchyma cells are called as sclerate cells. Okay, so other important thing that you find is that the wall of sclerenchyma is very thick. In parenchyma I said the wall is thin, in collenchyma the wall is thickened at the corners, but the wall of sclerenchyma is very thick, and this thickening is due to the deposition of a cement like substance called as lignin. So wall is lignified, but at certain regions, as you can see in this diagram, there are these thickenings are absent. So regions where these thickenings are absent, they are called as pits. Now the cell wall is so thick that the central cavity or the lumen, the central cavity is that part of the cell where in a cytoplasm and nucleus are located, and these are dead cells, so you don't find this cytoplasm, nucleus or protoplasm. So due to the thickening, the wall thickening is so much that the lumen is very narrow. Okay, it is very narrow. In fact, in case of sclerid, you find that the wall is very thick and the central lumen is very narrow, it is almost absent. Okay, so that's another important feature of sclerenchyma. Now coming to the functions. First, the location of sclerenchyma tissue. The sclerenchyma tissue is present below the epidermis in case of monocot stems. So in monocot stems, you find below the epidermis the sclerenchyma tissue is present. It is also found inside the vascular bundles. Vascular bundles are those regions where xylem and phloem is present. So, and outside the vascular bundles, they are the components of xylem as well as phloem. So, these are different locations. Even the husk of coconut, this husk of coconut is also made up of sclerenchyma tissue. The sclerenchyma tissue forms the protective coverings of nuts. So, the protective covering of these nuts or seeds, they are made up of the sclerenchyma tissue. Now, function of sclerenchyma, the function of sclerenchyma tissue, let us study. Now, the most important function of sclerenchyma tissue is to provide mechanical strength. So, that's the most important. It's a mechanical tissue and it is sclerenchyma that makes a plant stand erect. So, that's the most important function. And the sclerenchyma tissue, it makes the plant parts hard and stiff. So, the stiffness of any part of the plant is mainly due to the presence of the sclerenchyma tissue, right. So, that is about the functions of sclerenchyma, the most important function being providing mechanical strength. Now, this is the transverse section of a dicot stem. Okay, and later on you will be learning about the monocots and dicots. For now I can tell you as the monocots are those plants where you find that the seeds of the plants is made up of one cotyledon. So like in case of maize, you find that the cotyledon is just one, right. And in case of gram, you find that there are two cotyledons or seed leaves present. So those plants which have got two cotyledons in their seeds are called as dicots. Now this diagram that you see is of NCERT, and this is a TS. TS of a dicot stem. TS stands for transverse section. Like if you take a stem and cut it this way, okay, that is called as transverse section. If suppose a stem is taken and it is cut lengthwise, that will be called as LS. So here the diagram is of TS of a dicot stem showing the location of various types of simple permanent tissues. So here what you find, let us see what are the tissues present. The outermost covering, as you can see here, this diagram is the outline, and here you have got the detailed microscopic structure. So this outermost covering is the epidermis. It is a protective tissue, and generally this epidermis is made up of one layer of cell, and that epidermis is also parenchymatous. Below epidermis you find there is a multi-layered region present. This region is called as the cortex region. So just below the epidermis, have a look over here, just below the epidermis there is hypodermis present. This is a few layered region. right? Just made up of few layers of cells. This hypodermis in dicot stem, it is made up of collenchyma. That's made up of collenchyma. So epidermis that I said you, it is parenchymatous in nature, it's like parenchyma. Hypodermis in dicot stem is made up of collenchyma. Had it been monocot stem, there you will find sclerenchyma present. Then the cortex, the next region that you find below the hypodermis, this region, when you see this, you will be visible under a microscope. So this region is called as a cortex region, and cortex is made up of parenchyma. Then below the cortex you find there's another region present. There's a ring of cell present which is called as endodermis, and the endodermis is again parenchymatous in nature. It is like parenchyma. Then after that you find below the endodermis you find the vascular tissues. See the outline. Okay, this is the outline. Here you find this is the endodermis, and below the endodermis you find there are vascular bundles containing xylem and phloem present, right? So now let's see what are those different parts. So here you find, so where vascular bundles are present, just above the vascular bundle you find, that is below the epidermis, endodermis, you find there is a ring of, or there is a multi-layered region present. This region that you see, this is called as pericycle, and this pericycle is made up of alternate bundles of sclerenchyma and parenchyma. So you find sclerenchyma which is present just above the vascular bundle, then you'll have parenchyma. So in these regions you'll find parenchyma, and then again you'll have sclerenchyma. So there you find sclerenchyma alternating with parenchyma. This forms the pericycle. Then below pericycle you find there are these vascular bundles present. So here one vascular bundle is magnified and shown to you. There are many vascular bundles, right? So in between the vascular bundle there is a region which is present. This region which is present in between the vascular bundle, this region is called as the medullary ray. So this region is called as medullary ray, and the medullary ray is also made up of parenchyma, right? Now in the center you find there is a region present. This region is called as a pith, and pith is also parenchyma. So you find parenchyma in most of the region, that is epidermis is parenchymatous, the cortex is parenchymatous, in pericycle as alternate bundles you find parenchyma, medullary ray is made up of parenchyma, and the pith is also made up of parenchyma, right? Now collenchyma, I've told you collenchyma present in the hypodermis. And where did I say you about sclerenchyma? Sclerenchyma is present as a bundle in just above the vascular bundles. So it's present as a patch above the vascular bundles. Now coming to the vascular bundles, I said you vascular bundles, they are made up of, they contain xylem and phloem. So here you have got, this is a vascular bundle. Outside you have got phloem. This tissue is the phloem. Again, phloem will have parenchyma. It contains sclerenchyma fibers also, right? So this parenchyma and sclerenchyma is present in phloem. Not just in phloem, in xylem also. So below you find there is xylem present. So here xylem is also containing other components about which we will discuss, but then parenchyma and sclerenchyma is found in xylem. And as you can see in this diagram, between the phloem and the xylem, you find there is a tissue present. This tissue is called as cambium. Try to recall, cambium is lateral meristem. So what does cambium do? Cambium will add cells on either side, and this is going to increase the diameter or thickness. So when cambium adds cells on both the side, the diameter or the thickness, or which is called as girth of the stem or the root, it increases, right? So this is a TS of dicot stem that shows the location of all the three types of simple permanent tissues. There is a comparative account on all the three types of simple permanent tissues. Just let us go through this once. The parenchyma tissue, as I said you, they are made up of unspecialized cell, and cell wall is very thin and is mainly made up of cellulose. The collenchyma is made up of elongated cells. The cells are irregularly thickened at the corners due to the deposition of cellulose and pectin, whereas the sclerenchyma tissue, it is made up of long narrow cells. The wall is very thick due to the deposition of lignin, and the wall is so thick that the inner space is highly reduced. The next important is their difference that you find is in terms of their location. Parenchyma is the most common simple permanent tissue which you find in most of the parts of the plant. The collenchyma is found in the leaf stalk and the dicot stem just below the epidermis, whereas the sclerenchyma, it is found in the, this is found in the stem around the vascular bundles, inside the vascular bundles, in the veins of the leaves, in the hard covering of the seeds, stems, in the hard covering of seeds and nuts, and the husk of coconut. So that's the location of sclerenchyma tissue. Now parenchyma is living tissue. The collenchyma is a living tissue, whereas sclerenchyma is made up of dead cells, so it's a dead tissue. The next important difference that you find is that the intercellular spaces in parenchyma, it is present because the cells are loosely packed. In case of collenchyma, you find that the intercellular spaces is little because the corners are thickened with lignin and cellulose deposition, whereas in case of sclerenchyma, the intercellular spaces are absent. Then coming to the functional difference between the three, the parenchyma's main function is storage. If it is modified as chlorenchyma, it will be the site of photosynthesis, and if it's modified as arenchyma, then it helps in helping the aquatic plants to float on water. The collenchyma tissue, the main important function of collenchyma is to provide flexibility, that is, it allows the various parts of the plant like stem, tendrils, etc. to bend without breaking, and the other important function that it has is it provides mechanical strength to or support to the plant. Whereas in case of sclerenchyma, the main function of sclerenchyma is to provide strength. The mechanical strength to the plant part is provided by sclerenchyma. It makes the plant parts hard and stiff, and sclerenchyma forms a protective covering of seeds and nuts. Let us now study about the protective tissues that are there in plants. Plants have two types of protective tissues. Like how our body has got a covering of skin, the plants also has got a protective covering. There are two protective coverings. One is epidermis and other is cork, which is generally called as the bark of the tree. So let us study one by one about these. First, let us study about the epidermis. Like as I said you, like how we have got a covering of skin, the entire body of the plant, that is the leaves, the stem and the roots. The stem and the roots, entire body of the plant has got a covering of epidermis. This is a diagram that is representing the cross section of all the three regions of the plants. Here, as you can see, this is a cross section. If suppose a leaf is cut and seen, you will find the other parts that are there interior that are seen, but then you find that outermost layer of the leaf, whether it's upper surface or lower surface, there is a covering of epidermis. Similarly, of that of stem, if suppose a cross section is taken, again the stem also has got an outermost covering of epidermis. Then in case of root also you find the same thing. The roots also in a cross section, if a cross section of root is taken, if it is cut and seen, then in this roots also you find they have got an outer covering of epidermis. So epidermis forms the protective covering of the entire body, that is the stem, roots and the leaves. And most of the time you find this, now I had discussed this structure, and there also I had told you that in the stem you have got an outermost covering. So here, as you can see here, the stem has got an outermost covering, and this outermost covering is what is called as epidermis. In most of the cases you find that epidermis is just made up of one layer of cell. So epidermis is generally made up of one layer of cell. But in case of the desert plants, the plants which live in water scarce condition, the epidermis can also be multi-layered. This is to prevent the excessive loss of water that may happen, because desert plants or xerophytes live in water scarce condition. So they have adapted their body to prevent the loss of water, and so in desert plants the epidermis may be multi-layered, but generally it is just made up of one layer of cell. And also you find that the outer surface of epidermis, see here in the diagram, the outer surface, the surface which is exposed to air, this outer surface may be having a waxy coating, okay, which is called as cuticle. So this cuticle is a waxy coating present on the outer surface which prevents the loss of water and also protects the inner tissues from invasion of pests. So from mechanical injuries, from loss of water, and also from pests and pathogens that may enter. So for that there is a cuticle present. In case of desert plants which live in water scarce condition, they have all kinds of adaptations to prevent the excessive loss of water. So in the desert plants, the outer surface of the epidermis has a waterproof waxy coating which is called as cutin, and this cutin prevents the excessive loss of water. Now let us study the structure of the epidermis. The cells of the epidermis, this diagram which you see here, this is of your NCERT. So here you find that the cells of the epidermis, they are compactly packed, okay, tightly packed. And why tightly packed? Because epidermis main function is protection. So it should prevent the entry of any kind of pathogen, and also it has to protect the plant body from the loss of water. So because of this you find that the cells of epidermis, they are compactly packed without any intercellular spaces. There are no spaces present between the cells. You find there is no space present between the cell, and that makes the epidermis to have its most important function, that is protection. Now the cells of the epidermis, they are living cells and they are generally flat. So they are flattened cells. They are parenchymatous in nature. The cells are flattened, and you find that the outer and the radial walls of the cell, they are thicker. So if in terms of thickness of cell wall, when you see, the outer wall and the radial walls of the cell are thicker than the inner wall. This is the outside side and this is the inside part, then the outer wall is thicker than the inner wall. In this diagram also the same thing, inner wall is thinner, right? Now the epidermis, apart from providing protection, it also has got certain other function in different regions of the plants. The epidermis is modified to perform different functions. So let us study the important functions of epidermis apart from protection. In the leaves you find that the epidermal cells are modified to form tiny microscopic openings which are called as stomata. So here, as you see in this diagram, the diagram has, which is there in your NCERT, this is the diagram that is of lateral view of epidermis, and surface view is shown over here. Okay, if suppose epidermis is peeled and then seen, you find that all the cells of epidermis are not the same. Some of the epidermal cells get modified into these bean-shaped structures which are called as the guard cells, and because of the presence of guard cells you find that tiny openings are left. Okay, you can see tiny openings present. These tiny openings which are present, they are called as the stomatal pores or stomata. Okay, so stomata are the tiny pores present on the surface of the leaves which are meant for two things. Through the stomata, gaseous exchange occurs for photosynthesis as well as for respiration, and it is through stomata that the loss of water in vapor form occurs, which is called as transpiration. So each stomata, as you can see here, each stomata is surrounded by two bean-shaped cells. These bean-shaped cells are called as the guard cells, and these guard cells control opening and closing of stomata. Okay, so that is another important function of epidermis. Then roots in the roots also you find that the epidermal cells are bit modified. Some of the epidermal cells, have a look at this diagram, some of the epidermal cells in the root region, they are modified into hair-like structures. If this is the epidermis, then you find that the epidermal cells, they form long hair-like structures. These long hair-like structures, they are like very elongated hair-like structures. they are called as the root hairs. And the role of these root hairs is that the root hairs increase the surface area for absorption of water and minerals. Had the cells been like this, if the cells would have been this way, then the total area for absorption would be only this much. But then, as the cells of the epidermis, in case of the roots, they are modified into hair-like processes. These are which are called as the root hairs. They increase the total surface area for absorption of water and minerals. So these are the important functions that are performed by epidermis. That is, one is the most important function being protection of all parts of the plant from the loss of water, mechanical injury and invasion of parasitic plants. The next important function that I said you, that in the leaves the epidermis are modified into stomata. Okay, the cells are modified and that leaves tiny openings called as stomata, and through those stomata gaseous exchange occurs, as well as the stomata is also the site for transpiration, which is the loss of water in vapor form that takes place through the aerial parts of the plant. And the next important function of epidermis is, in the roots, the epidermal cells are modified into hair-like processes called as the root hairs, which increases the surface area for absorption of water and minerals. And as in the beginning I said you, in some of the desert plants, the outer surface of the epidermis has got a thick waxy coating, which is called as cutin. Cutin is a waterproof material, and this prevents the loss of water. As the plant grows older, in the older stems and the roots, the epidermis gets replaced by another protective tissue which is called as the cork. So let us study how this cork is formed. So in like when I had told you that about the regions of a dicot stem, I told you that below the epidermis there is hypodermis present, and then this region is called as the cortex region. So in the older stem and the root, in the cortex region, a secondary meristem develops. You have learned about the meristematic tissues, and there I had told you about the three types of meristematic tissue. One of the type is lateral meristem, which is also called as cambium. So when the in case of older stem and the root, in the cortex region, a meristematic tissue, you can see here this tissue that develops, this tissue is called as the cork cambium. Okay, this is a lateral meristem. Now this lateral meristem or the cork cambium starts dividing and adding cells on its outer surface. So on the outer surface, a multi-layered tissue is formed. This multi-layered tissue that you see is called as the cork. And so as cork goes on forming, the epidermis which was earlier present gets removed. Okay, so this is how the cork cambium, which is a lateral meristem, forms this cork. Okay, now coming to the features of cork. The cells of the cork, they are compactly packed. Okay, the cells are compactly packed with no intercellular spaces. The intercellular spaces are absent. There is no intercellular space present between the cells. The cell wall of the cork, they are very thick and they are having a deposition of suberin. They are made up of a cell wall deposition, which is a waxy substance which is called as suberin. And this presence of suberin in the cell wall makes the cork cells impermeable to gases and water. The cells of the cork, they are dead. So these cells, the cork cambium, when it forms cells, the cells on the outer surface, they are dead cells. Okay, the cells are dead, they are tightly packed with no intercellular spaces, and their cell wall is made up of a waxy substance which is called as suberin, that is impervious to gases and water. Okay, the main function of cork is protection. It protects the underlying living tissues, the tissues which are living. Okay, so below the cork you'll have the cortex and the other regions of the cells of the plant. So these underlying tissues are protected by the cork from all sorts of mechanical shocks, injuries, entry of pathogens, and loss of water. Simple permanent tissues, parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma, are all made up of one type of cell. But xylem and phloem, they are the tissues which are made up of more than one type of cell. But then these different types of cells work together to perform a particular function. So such tissues which are made up of more than one type of cell, where the cells coordinate to perform a common function, they are called as complex permanent tissues, and xylem and phloem are the examples of these. The xylem and phloem are the vascular tissues of the plants. Xylem conducts water and minerals, whereas phloem conducts food, and these two together constitutes the vascular bundle. Have a look at this diagram. This was told to you earlier also. So this is the TS of stem, and in the TS of stem I had told you that there is epidermis, there is cortex, there is pericycle, endodermis present, and below the pericycle there is vascular bundle. The vascular bundle has got phloem on the top and xylem below. So together the phloem and xylem constitutes the vascular bundle. The development of these vascular tissues has made the survival of complex plants possible on terrestrial environment. When plants first evolved, their evolution occurred in water. Okay, most of initially the plants that had evolved, they were all aquatic. But then and this like algae, it's an aquatic plant, and once there was evolution of vascular tissue in plants, then that made the life of terrestrial plants possible on land. Now let us study about each of the tissues one by one. Xylem is a conducting tissue which conducts or transports water and minerals. So water and minerals that are absorbed by the roots are transported to the upper regions or upper parts of the plants by means of xylem. The xylem, it is made up of four components. The four components are tracheids, vessel, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers. Now let us study the structure of all these four. Tracheids, they are tracheids and vessels, they are tubular cells. These tracheids and vessels, they are tubular cells. Tracheids, as you can see here, these are spindle shaped, they are long spindle shaped, okay, and this is one trachea drawn, but then tracheids, when because they have to form long channels, so they are all arranged one above the other, right? And vessels, these are elongated and cylindrical and tubular. So this is one vessel. You will find vessels again arranged one above the other. So as tracheids and vessels are tubular and they are connected to one another, these tracheids and vessels, they transport transport water and minerals. Both tracheids and vessels are they are dead cells. These are dead cells. So in other words, you can say that the xylem conducting elements of xylem are dead, right? Then xylem parenchyma is living, and its main function is to store food. Okay, so xylem parenchyma, it stores food. Water and minerals are conducted by tracheids and vessel, and the role of xylem parenchyma is to store food. Whereas xylem fibers, these are the same sclerenchymatous fibers. So xylem fibers, they have thick lignified wall, and the function of xylem fiber is to provide mechanical support. So these are the four elements of xylem, and of these four elements, the tracheids, vessels, and xylem fibers are dead, and the only living unit of xylem is xylem parenchyma. Okay, and the conducting element of xylem is tracheid and vessel, which conducts water and minerals. Now coming to phloem. Phloem is a conducting tissue of the plant that translocates food, and phloem is also made up of four different types of cells. So what are the cells that makes up phloem? Let us see. The phloem is made up of sieve tubes. Okay, you've got the sieve tubes, you've got phloem parenchyma, there is companion cells, and there are phloem fibers also. There are phloem fibers. Okay, so these are the four elements of phloem. Of these four elements of phloem, the sieve tubes, phloem parenchyma and companion cells, they are living elements, and the only dead element of phloem is phloem fiber. It's not drawn over here, but then phloem fiber is the only dead element of phloem. Now, of these four elements, the function of sieve tube is to translocate food. So, food is taken, because here what do you find, like the vessels, the sieve tubes are also tubular and they are all connected. So, sieve tube, this is one sieve tube cell. So, you will have many, one above the other, they are all arranged. So, they form long channels, and with the help of these companion cells that are present adjacent to them, the food is translocated from the sieve tubes or through the sieve tubes to different parts of the plant. Right. Now, the function of phloem parenchyma is to store food, that is a function, and the phloem fibers which are present, the phloem fibers, I said you, they are the only dead elements of phloem. So, the phloem fibers provide mechanical strength. So, these are the important features and the function of phloem. Uh, Phloem, it translocates food, and translocation of food through phloem is bidirectional. Okay, what does it mean? It's like in case of xylem, I said you that the water is transported from the roots to the upper parts of the plant, that is, the transportation is unidirectional. But in case of phloem, the food is made in the leaves. So, after the food is made in the leaves, it will be taken to the storage organ. This is one direction, and the other direction will be from the storage organ to the growing region. So, food can be taken from the storage organ to the growing region through the phloem. So, phloem translocates food in two directions. So, to wind up, let us first now differentiate between the two types of tissue. Xylem is commonly called as wood, and it is made up of four elements, that is tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. Whereas phloem, it is made up of four elements which are called as the sieve tubes, the phloem parenchyma, the companion cells and the phloem fibers. Now, the second difference that you find in case of these two is that in case of xylem, the three elements, that is tracheids, vessels and phloem fibers, they are dead, whereas and the only living element in case of xylem is xylem parenchyma. In case of phloem, you find that the companion cells, phloem parenchyma and sieve tubes are the living elements. They are made up of living cells, and the only dead element in case of phloem is the phloem fiber. It is dead. Okay, the conducting element of xylem is tracheid and vessel. It's tracheid and vessel that transports water and minerals, and the conducting element of phloem is sieve tube. Okay, xylem transports water and minerals in the upward direction, whereas phloem translocates food, and this translocation is bidirectional. So, these are the differences between xylem and phloem. Now, as I have completed the topic, based upon the video that I have discussed, here is an assignment that you have to do in your bio assignment copy. So, the first question is differentiate between parenchyma and collenchyma and collenchyma and chlorenchyma. The next question is how are simple permanent tissues different in terms of their nature of cell wall and uh, their function. That is, you have to differentiate between the three different types of simple permanent tissues on the basis of the cell wall and the functions that they perform. The third question is differentiate between xylem and phloem. Fourth, write the features of epidermis and how is the epidermis specialized in leaves and roots to perform special functions. And finally, write a short note on cork, which is also called as bark.